Hi folks, I'm back in Germany after 4 months in the fruit paradise of Borneo and Java, and I must admit I really miss the fruit. Well, one of the fruit I miss is the drinking coconut. But we don't need to despair, there are drinking coconuts in Germany. When I was a kid, we did not have them. We were really lucky if we would get one of those old brown things. Well, no one in the tropics would ever think of eating those brown things or drinking the water from them. They are used to make, well, coconut flakes and coconut milk and things like that. What they drink in the tropics are the fresh, young, juicy, unripe coconuts. Yeah, about 20 years ago, they started importing them in greater quantity to Germany, wrapping them in multiple layers of plastic. Here I just left the last layer. It would have been so good if the coconut was naturally wrapped in a beautiful, recyclable, shock-absorbing, smooth, clean, well, cover, which they actually removed from the fresh coconut and replaced it with some plastic, not after spraying it with lots of pesticides to keep all the bacteria, insects and fungi away from the already cut coconut husk. As you can see, it doesn't work 100% for longer periods. There are some teeny tiny specks of mold, but I think we shall survive that. Usually this mold is only on the surface and does not really affect the inside much. Oh, and just so that the customers are sure, they write that the coconut consists of 100% coconut. Really glad of that. I wouldn't like it to contain peanuts or fish or anything else. Well, I'm sure those 100% coconut don't take into account the plastic and also the pesticides used on that. Now I'm gonna try the almost impossible, open a coconut with one hand while filming the whole procedure with one hand. A lot of people would start opening it from this side, from the pointy side. Well, that's what people in the tropics like to do, but they usually have a machete or parang or a hatchet or some other heavy tool. Right now, I don't think my kitchen table will stand that. And also, there is a trick to opening a coconut if you just have a small knife. A trick that, by the way, impressed lots of people on tropical markets throughout the world. But usually, you use both hands for this trick. Well, or maybe one hand and two legs. The other side, which they usually cut to a flat surface so that you can stand the coconut like this, is actually much easier to open. You will see why. And you will also see why the coconut is actually called coconut. Well, coco, as far as I remember, is a Portuguese word for monkey. Well, monkey nut, yeah, they grow in the same places where monkeys live, in warm tropical environments. Monkeys like to eat them, especially if they get someone to open them for them. But those are not the reasons this is called coconut. Maybe I should take the parang. Maybe I should have sharpened this a little bit better. Yeah, who needs two legs anyway? Yeah. Well. Let's go back to the small knife. Okay. And now you can see a sort of a teddy bear face appearing. Big circle and two small circles. Well, if I cut this a little bit more, it will become a little bit more symmetrical. Come on. But because there are more monkeys than bears in the tropics, and because monkeys climb the coconut trees a lot more, they did not call it the teddy bear nut. The name teddy bear didn't exist back then. They called it the monkey nut or coconut. So, but I mean, this structure appears only after cutting the husk of the coconut. So why would you name the whole plant after something that's not even visible from the outside? Well, this structure is pretty important for the life cycle of the coconut and also for opening it. Well, for the life cycle. There are basically three places where the very hard coconut shell is weakened. Because inside this coconut shell there is an embryo. In some nuts the shell will break open so that the embryo can get out and basically produce a tree. In the coconut the shell is so hard, well, the embryo basically does not break it open, but the embryo uses one of those three weakened spots to emerge from the hard shell which is protecting it. And you can always see which one. This spot is not very weak. This spot is also not very weak, but this spot is pretty weak. Even with just a little bit of force, I can break through. And actually this little structure here is the embryo. Okay, I busted the embryo. No coconut tree will grow from this nut, folks. I'm so sorry. Yeah, well, see, this could have become a nice coconut palm. Now it will just become a piece of biodegradable waste. But already look at that. With a small knife, with quite a blunt knife. If I had sharpened it, it would have gone much faster. With a small knife, I opened this thing. Could have opened it in 3 or 4 seconds with both hands and the sharp knife. And without explaining, now it took me over 7 minutes. But look, it's open and there is the coconut water. What's the difference between coconut water and coconut milk? Well, coconut milk is basically produced from the water and from the coconut flesh from the real nut. That's why it's so milky and contains a lot more nutrients. So the coconut water of those young coconuts is still quite watery and tasty. Those old, brown, dried up coconuts, the coconut water is actually very fatty, not really tasty. It usually has kind of a moldy smell and taste. Also, if you drink too much of the coconut water from the older coconuts, it will give you the runs because it contains a lot of fat. This here is still mostly water, and it's so fresh that actually during World War II on the Pacific Islands, this was used instead of blood transfusions. Basically, they stick a syringe into the coconut, they stick a syringe into the arm of the wounded or dehydrated or sick soldier, and pump this coconut water directly into his veins. It didn't work 100%, but I think it saved a lot of people. Well, I'm not gonna do this, I'm just gonna drink it like any normal person in the tropics. So let's try this coconut which has been transported and stored for many weeks. Actually, the taste is not too bad. It's quite cold because it comes from the fridge. But yeah, the taste is more or less okay. Not as good as a really good fresh coconut, but not that far away. Yeah, So this one is still fresh enough. The mold on the outer surface was just a few tiny specks, which I cannot even find anymore. Yeah, so I guess I got lucky and got an almost fresh coconut. Well, now let me finish this coconut water, because as you can already guess, there is a second part to the coconut. It's quite hard getting all the water through this little hole. Usually you would make a tiny little hole in one of the monkey's ears. Remember, those are also weakened spots. Not as weak as this one, but you have a much better chance putting a hole right here than here or anywhere else. And it would go much easier, but no, I'm too lazy. I'm gonna do it with one hole. Almost there. Yeah. This is a young drinking coconut, so no problem drinking all the water fast. It will not give you the runs because it's not a ripe, fatty coconut. Now we are done with the water. By the way, folks, opening a coconut is serious work. Don't even attempt it if you are not really good with knives, axes, or hammers. You know the avocado hand, which you can get from opening an avocado the wrong way. The coconut is much harder than an avocado and can give you much worse wounds than any avocado. Well, now, if you want to open it, well, you could basically put it on a hard and stable surface and open it with an axe or a hatchet or this parang-like thing I brought back from Thailand. But let's do it. Let's do at least part of the work with a small kitchen knife. The thing is, this coconut still has a lot of the soft coconut husk. It might be soft, but it's really tough. Consists of a lot of fibers enclosed in a sponge-like material, so yeah. When you have a hard shell enclosed in a tough husk, it's twice as difficult to open it. Now, I'll do it in a quite unprofessional way, opening this thing. Please, folks, I guess I have to say this in every second video. Don't copy me, don't be as stupid as I am. I'm often doing things which are a little bit too dangerous. My only excuse is I've been doing them for decades and I'm still alive and still have all my hands and knees and everything else. But please, 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 never ever do this and never ever tell anyone, oh, this crazy guy on YouTube did it so I can do it too. Normally I wouldn't do this between my knees. Normally I would put it on a a tree stump and maybe hold it with one hand, but I'm back in my kitchen. No tree stumps around. So yeah, again folks, please, 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 never ever do this. Never be as crazy as me. Okay. As you see, the toughest part is the one where most people instinctively try to open the coconut. It's the last one resisting me. But not for long. This is a very heavy parag-like thing made from like 4 or 5 millimeter thick steel. It's very massive, it's very heavy, so you hit your knee with it, your kneecap is gone. And probably also half of the arteries in your leg. Okay, folks, now let's open this one. Okay, that's the inside of the coconut. It's still quite thin and soft, which shows that the coconut is really unripe. And also, it is still white and not pink. Coconut water and also the water and the flesh of coconuts, of young coconuts brought to Europe, they usually turn pinkish purplish after some time. The producers say, yeah, that's a natural oxidation process in the coconut water. Well, this might be okay in some canned coconut water, but when it happens in a still live coconut, well, that means the coconut is not alive anymore. If the stuff is oxidizing, that basically means it's dying. So this stuff is still nice and white. So not oxidizing and not dead yet. And I like this young coconut flesh a lot more than the old hard fatty one. What does this taste like? Like coconut jello. It's really nice. Yep. Here we already have a stage where there is a lot of substance to it, but it's still soft enough to be eaten with a spoon, especially when you have a second hand to hold the nut. This part here, it's still pretty unripe and undeveloped. That's not bad. That means it's thinner, softer and sweeter. Here, it already starts hardening. So it's not as sweet and soft anymore, but there is more of it. I got really lucky with this coconut. It's not bad at all. Now I just have to clean this mess and eat the rest of the coconut. Folks, again, please only open a coconut with a knife, a hammer, a hatchet, and whatever, if you are really good with tools. Being good with tools doesn't mean, yeah, I have 5 kitchen knives in the drawer and I know how to chop tomatoes. Being good with tools means being good with tools and really hard, tough things. Having experience in cutting really hard things like the coconut shell and really tough things like the coconut husk. So never ever buy and attempt to open a coconut with any tool if you are not really familiar with tools. And never use basically a hybrid between a machete and a meat cleaver to open a coconut if you are not really familiar with machetes or meat cleavers. And folks, never ever do this thing. Yeah. Holding something between your legs and between your knees and hitting it with a machete, meat cleaver or, yeah, hatchet or whatever. This is the easiest way to, yeah, get rid of your kneecaps. Okay, folks, this was a pretty good drinking coconut in Germany. Stay tuned for more fruit videos from the supermarkets and shops of Germany. Don't ever do stupid things with machetes, hatchets or meat cleavers. And of course, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.